Maybe you can proceed now.
Okay. Firstly, instruction for the students. All students are requested to keep their mic off till the Q&A in the last. If there will be any question pop up in your mind during the lecturer speaking, kindly type it in the chat box. Thank you. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. A very good afternoon to we have.
Vaibhavi, sorry for interrupting you, but you're not audible. Uh, Mansi ma'am, is that the case with you also? You're not able to hear her properly?
There is a lot of disturbance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Can you use your headphones? I think that will improve the audio quality. Yeah.
Hello.
Problem persists.
Yeah, it's still not clear. What can we do? So either you can try and switch off your camera, Vaibhavi, if that improves the audio quality. Because of I think there's some problem with the network connectivity. Yeah, just try and say something. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir? Clearly?
It's better than before, not perfect, but I think it will do. Yeah.
Only who, sorry, yeah, only who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Prestige Institute, I would like to welcome our distinguished guests, faculties, and new batch of Prestige Institute of Management and Research, Department of Law, to the first EML of 2021. The soul should always stand agile ready to welcome the aesthetic experience, and we are going to witness a memorable lecture today. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome Advocate Mansi Bhushan to the opening EML of the session 2021. There is a long list of achievements attained by Advocate Mansi Bhushan. In the brief, Mansi Bhushan is a practicing advocate in Delhi High Court. She deals with civil, criminal, matrimonial service, commercial, and negotiable instruments act matters, along with arbitration. She graduated from the Government Law College, Mumbai, and was ranked second in Mumbai University. She holds a PG diploma in Human Rights Law from NLSIU, Bangalore, and diploma in Cyber Law from Asian School of Cyber Law. While at GLC, she was awarded Yashwant Dalal Cup, Nivedita Nathani Memorial Award, Chief Justice M.C. Chagall Memorial Award, and scholarship twice. She was then the General Secretary of the Legal Aid Committee, founding member of ADR Cell, and student coordinator of Students' Council. Apart from litigation, she is passionate about teaching. She has been invited as guest lecturer in various law colleges. She has also conducted numerous webinars on topics of law. She is also an assistant editor at India Law Journal and has judged numerous moot court competitions in various law colleges. Advocate Mansi Bhushan is going to upskill us in the topic Introduction to Law. I hope the future lawyers will find and grasp from today's extramural lecture. Over to
Yeah, ma'am, you can begin. During the session, if you need any help with moderation, I'll help you out because we are getting constant messages that Vaibhavi's voice is not clear. So if you need any help with moderation or if you need any technical help, I'm also here.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Vaibhavi. Thank you, Department of Law, Prestige Institute Management of Studies. I am honored to come here, and I believe I have around 70 attendees at the moment, and all of these are first year students. Is my volume fine, or should I speak at a higher volume?
Ma'am, it's perfectly audible.
It's perfectly audible. Great. So as to what I'm told, you all are mostly first year students who have just, I believe, out of after your class 12th have come into college. It's hardly, say, 3, 4, 5 months maximum in the law college. And why did you choose law? If someone asks you, many people have varied answers. For me, an answer was that it's very lucrative and you get a lot of money in this field. But what exactly are you expecting in this field? What exactly are you thinking your 5 years of law course would be like? And why are you doing law? What is the primary aim of law in the society? Why do we have law? What do you mean by law? How is law going to help you? Is it something new which you are dealing with right now, or is it something which you have always seen in your lifestyle but you never knew that this is related to some law? So what is law is my first question. So let's go back to childhood. Let's see as to whether you know something about law since your very childhood when you were watching cartoons, or is it something which you have now started studying. I believe now you are studying torts. So is it something now what you get to know that yes, this is law? So let's go back to the childhood. I am sharing a cartoon with you all, and let me know if you all know about this or not. So before I start, yes. Is my chat box visible?
PT.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just see as to what this is. This is Powerpuff Girls.
Go. Uh-oh, no trespassing. So? Dude, trespassing is bad news. Maybe we should check to see if it's okay with the other archaeologists. Oh, well, if you guys don't trust me, No, it's not that. We trust you. You're the coolest. Totally, Snoop. Great, let's go.
Yes. So what just happened here? Can anyone tell me? What just happened here? What did you just now see? What just happened? Have you seen this cartoon before? Do you know the name of this cartoon?
Students, you can write your answers in the chat box, or if you want to interact with ma'am, you can raise your hand and I will give you the chance to speak to ma'am.
So I would prefer you all putting your inputs in the chat box. Yes, Shivansh Pandey is right. They just trespassed. And this is not something new. You saw this cartoon when you were in your childhood days. Similarly, we see all the instances around us happening all the time, which are related to law. It's just that we never saw them as this is something regarding law. This is a dispute which is there, which is relating to law. We always had seen it as a mere instance and then probably forget about it. So yes, Shivansh is right. They just trespassed. Now, is it trespass? The word trespass, is it an offense or is it something which is okay to do? So let's just see today what we are going to explore in this entire session is what are the different incidents which you would have seen till date and how are they related to law. And once you analyze that, yes, these are related to law, so are all of them falling in one single category? Or probably we can differentiate and categorize some laws and then see as to how this law is different from that law. This is the objective of today's session. I can assure you, and I feel that this will not be a boring session wherein I'll be teaching you theory. So I want you all to interact as much as possible, preferably through your chat box, because I can see your inputs simultaneously. So let's just move as to what exactly law is. Let's just get ourselves introduced to law. So here we are. We'll be starting introduction to law, which is the topic today. I will be showing you certain pictures. Now I want you all to look at these pictures and provide me your inputs as to what you see out of this picture. Okay. Give me a minute. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I want you all to look at the pictures now And whenever I ask you as to whether there is an offense which is being committed here or not, you have to tell me that yes, this is what you decipher out of the picture. So let's see the next picture. Now this is regarding law of torts. As I'm told, you all have read law of torts. So let's see how many of you can decipher as to what the next picture is depicting. Or parrots are talking about this one, and they say he sold secrets to the enemy. What is happening? What are these? This person, what is he doing? Is he doing something? Exactly. Khushi is correct over here. This is called defamation. What is defamation? You would have read it in your thoughts. When one person is talking about some other person, wherein when he's talking about this person to some other entity, the image of this person gets deteriorated in the minds of others. That is what usually people say snitching. And that is what people say, that you are defaming the other person because his reputation is getting tarnished. So this is not anything unusual. Rather, this is a common phenomena. This is in human nature that we talk about people behind their backs. But what we are actually doing here, we are defaming the other person. So in which category can such instance fall? This is law of torts. And this is also falling under your criminal law, under IPC, Indian Penal Code, which you'll be studying in your college days, which is defamation, section 499 of IPC. So yes, over here in torts, it is called as defamation. This fall under law of torts. Now, what is tort? Tort is a wrong. It can be a civil wrong because the word means it is a civil wrong. Now, this law of torts will fall under the domain of civil law. We'll study as to what criminal law is, but let's just focus on law of torts for now. Let's just see other category of crimes which can fall under law of torts. Yes, Manjeet is right. He says when someone is ruining one's image is called defamation. He is absolutely correct. So defamation is basically your civil wrong as well as criminal wrong, because it is a criminal offense because it falls under Indian Penal Code. Now tell me what's happening here. Probably all of them had gone to see a match, and there is a baseball bat which is going into the audience and probably going to hit someone's face. So what do you think is happening here? Since you all have done torts, I believe someone would know the correct answer here. What concept does this denote? What do you think? This is negligence. Mayank is partially correct. Yes, it is negligence, but can you blame the player for hitting the ball so hard that his probably bat got slipped from his hand? Can you blame the player there and say that no, we cannot blame the player because he is playing and this is not done by him intentionally? This is voluntary non-fit injuria. Divya, Avni, Divyansh, Nehal, they are right over here. This is the concept which can denote voluntary non-fit injuria only when the audience has signed a paper saying that we understand that there are risks in watching this match and any injury which will be caused to us is, we are not going to claim any compensation, any damages for that. So still waiting for the correct answer. Baseball bat hits the spectators, but we cannot blame because we are here with our own consent. That's absolutely right. That is the concept of voluntary non-fit injuria. Negligence, but player can take defense of voluntary non-fit injuria. Yes. So let's see what is this concept. This is daminum sine injuria. You would have read it, I believe, till now in law of torts, which is that there is a damage. Damage means there is an injury done to the person. He is probably bruised. Probably he is bleeding from his eye, probably from his ear, from his nose, anything. There is a damage, but there is no legal damage. There is no legal injury caused. So damage without legal injury, and injuria sine daminum is opposite of it, that there is a legal injury, but there is no such damage. You would have seen examples of it, that there are two schools. One school was doing really well. The other school also started its school over there, because of which many students from this school went to that school. Now there is no damage. There is damage probably, but there is no legal injury which is caused. There is no violation of legal right of the person here. So the concept of daminum sine injuria and injuria sine daminum, you would have studied in your torts law. Yes. Prerit Yadav is absolutely right. He has given the example of the case. He has given the case law name over here as to how this concept of daminum sine injuria had arisen. Yes, Janvi, Yadav, Neha, they are correct. Damage without injury. And Manjeet says this is similar to Mayor and Company of Bradford case. Yes, this is similar. The examples which I have picked up today are based on case laws. But as I said earlier, I don't aim to teach a very theoretical kind of conduct a theoretical kind of session. So we'll see instances in our real life, and we'll realize that all these instances are nothing new. So basically, everything which happens around us is related to law, is something what we can relate to. Probably we never thought that this is relating to law, and that's why you have chosen a really great field which can be used in your everyday life. Let's move to the next concept, wherein voluntary nature of participation. I agree that parachuting is of little value to the society, and that I am, and then it says that I am not going to ask for any compensation. I am not going to sue any company who's taking me out for parachuting. Now, what does this denote? The answers I've already given by the students. This is voluntary non-fit injuria. If I incur any damage, if I incur any injury, then I have voluntarily consented to it. The other party will not be liable for compensation or damages. This is a basic principle of tort. These are some concepts which I'll be telling you of torts. The detailed subject, of course, will be taught by you, by the professor during your classes. Now, this is voluntary non-fit injuria. This falls under law of torts. Now, who will tell me what does this picture denote? Always plant trees so that the prevailing wind blows the autumn leaves next door. It's not for having shadow in your own house, but you are trying to cause inconvenience to the other party. What is this? There are many who are saying nuisance. Let's just check the concept of liability in law of torts. Now, yes, of course, this is nuisance. Many people have correctly answered. Muskan, Soumya, Mayank. Mayank is saying trespass. No, not really trespass. Till the time, say, branches do not go into the other's house. But till the time branches are there in my house, but all the leaves, the intention over here that leaves goes into the house of other person, that will cause nuisance to the other person. And there is a concept of liability. There is strict liability and there is absolute liability. Now, this you'll read in detail, but the concept around it is that any person who brings any dangerous thing into his house which causes damage to the other persons, wherein other persons have not done anything in order to get aggrieved, get injured, then this person will be liable for the damage caused to others. Now, there is difference in strict liability and absolute liability, which you will deal in your classes in detail. But again, this concept is regarding your civil law, which is falling under law of torts. Okay. I'm happy to see that there are many people who are answering correctly, and I am very, again, happy and surprised that within, I believe, 2-3 months of your law school, you are knowing many concepts, which is commendable. Now, this is a recent incident which had happened in Vishakhapatnam, wherein there was a gas leak because of which people, there were 11 deaths. There were many who were injured. They were unconscious. So in total, there was a lot of destruction. And why did this happen? This happened due to, what is the term? The term has already been, yes, Khushi is right. This happened due to negligence of the company. There was a gas leak. And yes, again, people are right here when they are saying it's absolute liability. Neha, Khushi, and Manjeet again, Cheena, Harshika, Avni, all of you are right here when you say it is absolute liability, because the company who had the plant here will be absolutely liable for giving compensation and damages to the people who have suffered, because people had not done anything wrong. It was the company where the gas had leaked, and because of such leakage, others were affected, and then your concept of liabilities come up, and then compensation is to be given by the company. So yes, this is again something very much relatable by all of us. This is not new. This is not something remote which you will see that, oh, law is a theoretical subject, I have to study the concepts and put it in the exams. No, every day you'll see incidents happening around you, and you'll relate to them that yes, this is something, this is the law which is to be applied here, this dispute will fall under this category. So yes, this is negligence, law of torts. Now let's go to criminal law. Criminal law is something, as I said earlier, there is one domain of civil law and one domain of criminal law. How is civil law different from criminal law? Civil law is dealing between two persons. It is a private law. So we'll deal with instances of civil law. And criminal law is something which is dealing with the society. When an act is committed, it is not just affecting the other person, but it is creating fear in the minds of rest of the society, rest of the world. That's why it is called criminal law. The punishments would be grave. The punishments would be imprisonment, would not just be fine. As in your civil law, you have concept of damages, but in criminal law, you have concept of imprisonment, that this person needs to be reformed. When this person goes to jail, he will act as an example for others. You have different theories, deterrent theory, retributive theory, reformative theory, which you'll deal when you'll be studying, say, Indian Penal Code or criminal jurisprudence. So how is criminal law different from civil law? This I'll come to when we'll study both the laws, and then we'll quickly do a differentiation between them. Criminal law is against the whole society, whereas civil wrong is against a particular person. Janvi is absolutely correct here. Manjeet is also correct when he says civil law, there is always compensation, and in criminal law, there is imprisonment. Yes, so tell me what's happening here. What do you think is happening, even in layman's language, if you don't know the offense name, but what is happening here? When one person is throwing rubbish and the other person is spitting on the road. What do you think is this picture depicting? Polluting. Janvi says they are polluting. They are causing damage to the environment. They are causing nuisance to the public. They have a duty to care. They are causing mischief. Mayank is right here. He has named the offense. They are causing mischief. Pratishtha is right. Pratisha is right here when she says they are causing public nuisance. These are the two offenses which are being committed here. Well done. I know that you have not studied IPC till now, but you are naming the offense itself. That's really nice. Let's see what the offense is. The offense over here is mischief and public nuisance. This is given under Indian Penal Code. Now, what is mischief? Mischief is causing damage to the property, which is a public property, which is not your property, which is not your private property. Of course, what I'm telling you is an ancillary, or I would say a superficial definition of mischief. Or public nuisance means causing annoyance, insult to others. This you will deal in detail when you will be reading section 268 or section 400 onwards in IPC, which tells you exact definition and essential ingredients of this offense, of these offenses. But yes, they are causing mischief and public nuisance. Why? Because they are polluting the environment, they are causing damage to the environment, they are littering, they are polluting the road. So yes, they will be guilty of offense under IPC. So next time when you see anybody spitting on the road, you can say, listen, you are causing mischief and you are causing public nuisance. Now tell me what's happening here. What do you think is this picture depicting? There is a woman and there are many hands. Yes, Muskan is right. It is harassment. Rukaiya is right. Garima is right. It is sexual harassment. It is sexual assault. Yes, you are absolutely right. And this is given under criminal law. Now, why is this criminal and not civil in nature? This harassment is caused not just to this woman, but also to all other women who are under the fear that this thing can happen to us as well. That is why it is falling under the domain of criminal law and not civil law. So you are side by side also learning the difference between civil law and criminal law. Let's see what's the offense which is committed here. The technical offense is section 354 of Indian Penal Code, which is outraging of modesty of women. Now, this is not anything new which you are seeing for the first time. Probably while traveling in public transport, probably while walking on the road, you get comments from passers-by. If you're a woman, probably if you're a man, even then there can be instances of harassment. But for now, we don't have outraging of modesty of man in IPC. Probably when the laws will become more gender neutral regarding this issue, when the society and the times will come when we'll need a change for having a law regarding male as well, then we'll have a similar section in IPC. But what does this denote? This is section 354 of IPC, which is outraging the modesty of women. Yes. Now tell me, what is this picture? What do you think is happening here? This is theft and robbery. Exactly. Divyansh is right. Many of you are right. This is theft or probably robbery. Now, this offense name is given as it is in IPC, which is theft, which is which means that anybody who takes a property out of the possession of some other person without that person's consent, then it constitutes theft. This is the definition of theft. So what happens here? One person takes, even if you are taking, now theft can happen at any time, at any place. Two friends who are studying together, one friend takes the book out of the bag of the other friend and then keeps it in his own bag, goes back home, studies it, returns the next day. During that time, if the other friend says that this was not taken with my consent, so of course your friends, it will be deemed as if you have consented to give your book. But if such consent is not being taken, the friend who had taken the book would be guilty of theft. Now, theft again can be at any scale, can be at micro as well as macro level. Yes, Janvi is right. Janvi looks like she has studied well for her examinations in order to come in college, because she is differentiating between robbery and theft. There is a difference between these two offenses. We'll see that in some time. Now tell me, in this movie, what was happening at this time? What were these three persons doing? They were kidnapping. Divya is right. They are kidnapping. They are calling somebody and they are saying, asking for ransom to give, they'll give the child back and they'll take the ransom. Yes, and they are asking for the amount. Over here, Shalini, Manjeet, Garima, Divya, all of them are right. What is kidnapping? Kidnapping can be of two types, can be from India and can be from lawful guardianship. This you'll study in Indian Penal Code when you will deal it in detail. I am telling you again a superficial definition of it just to explain you the concept. What happens in kidnapping? If you are taking a child away from his lawful guardian, need not necessarily be parents. If somebody who doesn't have parent, or somebody is on holiday at his grandmother's place, at that time the grandmother is the guardian. So somebody who takes away the child from the lawful guardian, away from the lawful guardian without the lawful guardian's consent, that then such act will constitute the offense of kidnapping. Now, mere taking away in itself will constitute kidnapping. It need not necessarily be retaining of that child for, say, 1 day, 2 days, or some sufficient period of time. The act of merely taking away, be it even for 5 minutes, that will constitute as kidnapping. Yes. So, lawful guardian can be anyone, for example, teacher in school, grandparents. Yes, Divyansh is absolutely right here. It will fall under section 363. Yes, Manjeet and Divyansh are correct here. Mayank wants to ask, can it be extortion? Now, extortion, what happens in extortion is that when someone takes money without the consent of other person, by putting that person under the fear of instant death or hurt to another person. Now, extortion, if you see the essential ingredients of extortion, this will not fall under extortion, because you have to put the other person in fear of instant death. If on phone they are saying, we will kill this child, then yes, it will amount to extortion. If they are simply asking for money that will give you back your child, then it will not amount to extortion. So there is a fine line of difference. You'll have to see the essential ingredient of extortion and kidnapping, and then only you can make out whether this is extortion or kidnapping. I hope, Mayank, I have answered your question regarding extortion. Aditya is asking, can this be blackmailing? Now, blackmailing is a layman's language. The technical language, if it would be, again, extortion. Aditya, I hope the explanation which I have given to you regarding extortion, you have understood as to whether it will be blackmailing or not. Please type yes if you have understood. Okay. Yes. Now tell me, what is this? I hope you have seen this movie. What does this picture depict? This is acid attack. Divya is right here. Divya, Shalini, Nehal, Manjeet, Pranav, Ashneet, Khushi, all of you over here are absolutely right. This is acid attack. She is a survivor. She is a victim of acid attack and she has survived that incident. Now, this is again something not very unusual in our society. This is, we have seen movies, we have seen YouTube videos on this. Probably we would have seen someone live as well. Say while walking on roads, say while visiting some NGO, we would have seen such people. Now, acid attack, this is falling under your Indian Penal Code, again a criminal offense, because it creates the fear in minds of others that similar thing can happen to them. What is acid attack? The words are in itself self-explanatory. What does it say? A person, when it throws acid on the other person, it can be anywhere, need not just be face, and that person knows or has intention. So your knowledge and intention are very crucial elements in IPC. When that person knows or has intention, then that person will be guilty of acid attack. So the person who is attacking will be the accused person. He would be tried and then thereafter be punished. Can it also be assault? Assault means that you are causing hurt to the other person. What is hurt? Hurt is change in motion, cessation in motion, or stoppage in motion. Suppose if I'm walking, if somebody just holds my hand and stops me from walking, that person is causing me hurt as per the technical definition. Of course, it will fall under assault as well, but you have an aggravated offense of assault. Why? Because assault can be simply slapping, whereas acid attack causes is due to a reason, which is throwing of acid. The consequence is grave, is much adverse than assault, so you have an aggravated offense. So, but while registering an FIR, you should put all your offenses. You should put assault, you should put hurt, you should put acid attack. Suppose by chance acid attack is not proved, but still you can find that person guilty and make him punished for assault or say hurt. Okay. Ma'am, if there is no mens rea, will the person still be punished? As I said, in your criminal law, there are two things. First is knowledge. Second is intention. Even if the person didn't have mens rea means guilty mind. Even if the person didn't have that guilty mind, still he had knowledge that this act can lead to such consequence, then also that person will be guilty. You will understand these concepts while you will be studying your IPC. Not all offenses require both or either of them. Some offenses require only intention, some offenses will require only knowledge, and some offenses will require both. Some offenses might not require anything, like your rash and negligent driving. Section 304A, I believe, it says anybody who drives or who does any act which is rash and negligent will be guilty of that offense. Now, it nowhere says you need to have knowledge or we need to have an intention. It simply says your act is committed and this is the consequence, you will be punished. Okay. Ma'am, in kidnapping, malified intention is not necessary. No, not at all. The mere act of taking of the child from the lawful guardian will constitute kidnapping. If you will read the section, you will read the law, you will understand it, what is the legislature's perspective, and what are the essential ingredients to be seen in this section. Now tell me, what is this depicting over here? This is battery. This is battery. We are talking about criminal law. There is no usage of word battery in IPC. The usage of word in IPC is assault and hurt. But yes, battery concept is from your tort law, which you have read till now, and I'm happy to see many people are writing battery. But yes, this is battery, merely showing the punch, showing the fist is battery, and assault is actually touching that person's face and hitting that person, then it becomes assault. So over here, it will become the concept of assault and hurt in Indian Penal Code, which Divyansh has correctly pointed out. It will become assault and hurt as well in IPC. Now, what do you think has happened here? What do you think? He is probably a judge or a police officer. There are markings 1, 2, and 3 over here. This absolutely right. There has been a murder here. Divyansh, Mayank, Manjeet, Divya, Zoya, Ritik, Kritik, Rukaya, all of you are right here. This is an investigation going on wherein a murder has been committed. Now you are all right. The offense name in IPC is also murder. Police is collecting evidence. That's correct. What is murder? When anyone causes death to another. No, it's not that simple. There is culpable homicide and murder in IPC. That's a very vast section, section 299 and 300 of IPC. You need to know the difference. I am not going into this concept, but just to tell you that murder is a criminal wrong. Why? Because it creates fear in minds of others that such act can happen to others as well when that act is being committed. And it's not just against that person, but against the society. So then it becomes murder. Regarding motive in murder, when you'll read the section, you'll understand it is not just motive. It needs to be accompanied by knowledge or can be independently only knowledge or only intention. Section 299, which is culpable homicide, section 300, which is murder. When you read it in your IPC lectures, you will be able to appreciate as to what exactly is the difference and what is the fine difference between culpable homicide and murder. Culpable homicide without intention, as I said earlier, both these sections does not require intention necessarily. Even an act which is done with the knowledge that it can cause hurt to the other person, then death to the other person, then it will constitute as culpable homicide. It need not necessarily be only intention. So this I don't want to deal in detail because it will take a lot of time to explain the difference between them, because it is like knowledge likely to cause death, knowledge which will cause death, intention likely to cause death. So there's a lot of concepts further involved. Since you all are in first year, I like the enthusiasm of you all trying to know the subject, trying to think as to what this offense would have in it, which is commendable. So of course you can discuss it after this session with me. What is happening here? What do you think is happening here? What are these people doing? This is violence, Pallavi says. Violence, protest. Nehal is saying protest. Aditya is saying they are throwing stones. Yes, Pranav is right. This is rioting. This is violent riots. So Soumya, Divya, rioting, mob lynching. Bhumika says it's mob lynching. Public violence, Akshat is saying it's public violence. Mayank is saying they are waging a war. Okay. Shivansh again says it's riot. Yes, all of you are right here. It is in fact rioting. At least that's what I wanted you to all decipher from this picture. These are people who are throwing stones, who are burning the public property, who are forming an unlawful assembly here. Section 141 to 145 and onwards, you'll see there is a concept called unlawful assembly. When 5 or more people gather at one place, trying to commit an offense with an intention to commit an offense, have prepared to commit an offense, then they'll be guilty of unlawful assembly, forming an unlawful assembly, and thereafter rioting. You'll study this in your IPC again. And you'll be able to understand as to what exactly is rioting. Can it be without forming an unlawful assembly? Of course not. There needs to be an unlawful assembly. Section 141 to 145 and onwards, you will find these sections. This again is a criminal wrong. This again is dealt in criminal law, which is IPC. Now you have studied law of torts. You have then seen IPC. Now let's see specific crimes regarding criminal law. What do you think is happening here? Yes, of course, it can fall under mischief as well. This is ragging. Ananya is right. Ananya, Muskan, Soumya, Pranav. They are right. This is ragging. Now you have ragging. This can be termed as a criminal wrong, but there are specific laws dealing with ragging, which is the UGC guidelines, University Grants Commission guidelines on curbing menace of ragging in higher education institutions. So this is ragging. This can fall under IPC, as well as you have niche legislations. So then those niche legislations provisions will also come into place. What do you think is happening here? What is this regarding? This is an attack. This is a terrorist attack. Absolutely. This is a terrorist attack, 26/11 attack in Mumbai at Taj Hotel. Now you have laws, preventive detention laws, lot of laws, UAPA laws, POTA, Prevention of Terrorism Activities Act, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and there are a lot of preventive detention laws in order to curb terrorism. So once suppose an offense such like 26/11 attack happens, then that will not just fall under IPC, it will fall under those niche legislation, under those specific legislations, because you have specific provisions for them. What do you think is happening here? There is a woman who's been thrown out of the house. There is a woman who's being made at par. I mean, she's weighed in terms of money, dowry. Absolutely, this is dowry. And what is happening here? She's been thrown out of her house. So what's happening? Garima, Nehal, Divyansh, Zoya, all of them are right. Domestic violence. Divya says it's domestic violence. Absolutely correct. And that's why, since it is done to women and it is prevalent in the society, you have specific legislation called Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. It will include cruelty, it will include domestic violence, it will include dowry demand, it will include any sort of mental harassment done to women during or after marriage by husband and his relatives. So that is the concept of this act. And this will not just fall under IPC, which is criminal law. You have specific legislation. So even provisions of those legislations will come into place. Okay. Now you have studied torts, IPC, and specific legislations of criminal law. Let's just quickly go to consumer law. We all are consumers. We all eat, say, chips, say, eateries, say, food items. We all see, say, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, and we are all consuming goods and services at all times. We are consumers. So let's see what's happening here. An injection is being given in a fruit and is made to look like a good fruit. What's happening here? What do you think? This is adultery. Nehal says, Ishan, malpractice. Pranav says adultery, and Ishan again says adulteration. So adultery and adulteration are different concepts. Adulteration is basically putting some items which are unedible or which are not appropriate into the edible items in order to make it look like these are edible items. So what's happening here? Let's see. This is adulteration. Adultery is relating to your family law when there is an extramarital affair. So this is adulteration. Of course, this is unfair trade practice. This is a malpractice. This is regarding a Consumer Protection Act. So yes, there are certain sections in IPC as well, in criminal law as well, but you have another set of law, which is consumer law, which will cater to these offenses. Now, this girl says, I want to buy a microwave of a good quality. And the shopkeeper says, ma'am, you can buy this one. And then she says, no, give me that one with ISI mark. Now, what's happening here? What was the shopkeeper trying to do over here? He was trying to sell some product which was not up to the mark. So she has right to choose. Of course, the girl has right to choose. But what is happening here? Shalini says it's regarding hallmark. Yes, this is unfair labor trade practice in consumer protection law, and that shopkeeper can be booked for unfair labor trade practice if he is adopting any such technique to sell off goods which are, say, inappropriate. So there are the unfair trade practice is covering a large ambit of practices, need not necessarily be just this as to what I depicted in the picture, but this is one of the examples of unfair trade practice. Yes, he's trying to brainwash the consumer. Sanskriti is absolutely right here. What's happening here? This man had purchased a an expensive phone, but he is always agitated because he is not getting that good quality of network and battery level is low. So no network, that's right, and no battery, and he is very agitated because of it. He thought that this phone would be really nice phone. So what's happening? He has got a defective good with him. He didn't get the good which is up to the mark. So there is a deficient good. Now this again falls under Consumer Protection Act, when you were promised that you would be given certain thing of certain quality, but that thing is not living up to that expectations, living up to those promises. It's a poor quality product. Kritik is right again. It's a bad product, so it will fall under deficient goods. You can sue that seller or manufacturer under Consumer Protection Act before consumer forums. Now there is this builder who had promised that he would build the building, say within 2 years, and after 2 years what I see is this: merely structure is being constructed, even the structure is not yet completed here, it is still under construction, and all his promises were false promises. So what can I do against the builder? Is the builder liable for any can I sue the builder? Is the builder liable to give me any sort of, say, compensation, or promise again further within 1 year he has to complete the project? Yes, absolutely he can. You all are right. There is a breach of trust. Harshika is right. Sanskriti, Ashneet, Kritik, all of you are right here. Yes, he is liable. Why? Because he has not performed as per promise. There is a deficiency in service. So even for deficient goods as well as deficiency in service, he will be liable. The landlord can, the builder will be liable. And yes, you can sue them under Consumer Protection Act. Janvi, yes, there is a breach of contract here, because as per contract only, he would have promised that I would give the possession of this flat, say, within 2 years or 3 years. So this is another domain of law, what you just now studied, which is Consumer Protection Act. Now, constitutional law, you would have studied since, I believe, class 6th, 7th, 8th in your social studies. Now, let's just see how constitution is applicable in everyday's life. Now, this is something which is ongoing currently. There is farmers' protest happening. Kisan Andolan kahan jam. Delhi, Ghaziabad border, Sindhu border, and Tikri border. What's happening here? Farmers' protest. Ashneet is right. Do farmers have a right to protest, or they simply have to agree to the legislations passed by the government? Can they say that, yes, we will protest against this, or are their protests illegal? Protest, they have a right. Shalini, Ananya, Harshika, Ashneet, Manjeet, yes, all of you are right here. It's not illegal. It is falling under Article 19, freedom of speech and expression, which is right to protest under our Indian Constitution. That's legal. However, only peaceful protests are legal. Any protest which is involving violence will become illegal. Now, what's happening here? This person is giving a speech, probably against the government. So he has right to speech. Yes, Nehal is right here. Harshika is right here. Divyansh is right. This is right to criticize. So what's happening? He's criticizing the government. He has that under freedom of speech and expression. But at the same time, he cannot defame, he cannot induce other persons to wage a war against the state. That will fall under sedition. That will fall under your criminal law under IPC. That, of course, you'll deal in detail. So I am... let me just see if this video is playing. Okay, what just happened here?
It's playing, but it was a little choppy. That's it.
Okay, yeah. What just happened here? Let's just see it again. What just happened here? This guy wanted to protest, and police officers, what they did, they started beating him. So it has reasonable restrictions. Of course, Prerit is right. It has reasonable restrictions. And Divyansh is right here when he says these are the atrocities committed by police. Yes, this will violate right to life of people, because atrocities are being committed by police. So this will fall under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. However, at the same time, as I said, only peaceful protests are allowed. Any protest which will involve violence will not be allowed, will become illegal at that very moment and can be punished. Okay, let's go to contract law. Now, contract is something not very unusual You would have seen a lot of landlords and tenants staying together. Tenants are paying. What's happening here? This is a tenancy agreement. So what can we say? What type of agreement is this? Is this a contract? Yes or no? Yes, Divyansh is right. This is a contract. This is a landlord-tenant agreement. Now there are essentials of a valid contract. Do you think, now tell me, if in order to find out whether this is a valid contract or not, if a gun is pointed out at a person and he is made to sign this contract, do you think this will be a valid contract? Janvi is right. Divyansh is right. Shivansh, Zoya, Shalini, Sanskriti, all of you are right here. Of course, this will not be a valid contract. Why? Because it is formed, it is signed due to coercion. Coercion means when one person is forcing the other person and then you make that person sign, agree to the terms and conditions, it becomes an invalid contract. So in your Contract Act, section 10 deals with what are the essentials of a valid contract. So all these elements like coercion, we'll see 2-3 elements in future as well. All these elements will make the contract as invalid contract because they are not arising out of free will and consent. I did not freely agree to this contract. It was induced due to force or say misrepresentation or say undue influence. That's why it's a invalid contract. Now tell me what's happening here. Those who have seen this movie, he is trying to, what's happening here? Can someone tell me? Fraud, intimidation, scheme, scam. Okay, misrepresentation. Absolutely. Nehal is right here. He is trying to manipulate the other person, showing himself as somebody else, and then make that person get into that scheme, which was a fraud scheme that his money will become double in say 25 days. So he was manipulating he was misrepresenting. So this is a concept of misrepresentation, one of the concepts again, which will invalidate your contract. It will become an invalid agreement. Now you have studied torts, you have studied criminal law, you have studied specific domains of criminal law, you have studied constitutional law as well as contract law. Now tell me, this is regarding a family law. Now tell me, what does this picture denote? Somebody had answered this earlier. Tell me, what does this picture denote? Adultery. Of course. Yes, you are right here. This is cheating and adultery. So yes, this is depicting, say these two are husband, wife, and she is having an affair, extramarital affair. So under family law, this will become a ground for seeking divorce. So this falls under Hindu Marriage Act, under section 13 of your Hindu Marriage Act. You'll study it in detail when you will be dealing with family law. So this is another type of law and domain, which is family law. Can be Hindu, can be Muslim, can be Parsi, can be Christian, depending on religion, can be Indian Succession Act, can be Indian Marriage Act, regarding all those people who don't want to fall under those categories of religion and want to separately say want to marry say inter-religion, then they can choose those secular laws as well. So this is adultery. Now let's see what's next. Last domain what we'll be studying today is cyber law. Am I permitted to take next 10 minutes as well?
Sure, ma'am, no problem.
Okay, thank you. So last domain what we'll see is cyber law. Now tell me what's happening here. Cybercrime, cyber scam, hacking, hacker attack, of course, yes. So what's happening here? The person, somebody is cheating, somebody probably is replicating himself, is probably there's an identity theft, somebody on the wrong pretext is taking the credit card details of this person. So yes, this is a cyber crime. This will fall under, this is an online fraud. This will fall under identity theft and cheating under Information Technology Act. This will not just fall under IPC. This will fall, there is a specific legislation for it called Information Technology Act. Okay, what's happening here? This girl is made to say, she's been said all these words, loser, ugly, stupid. This is online criminal activity. Garima is right here. She says this is cyber bullying. Yes, this is cyber bullying when one person is made, when one person is annotated or is bullied, annotated wrong words, is bullied on the online domain, it falls under cyberbullying. This will again fall under IT Act as well as IPC. So what have we studied till now? Let's just summarize today's session in 2 minutes. What is law? Law are the rules and regulations formed by legislator which are governing the citizens. What can be the types of law? Public law and private law. In public law, what do you see? There is constitution, there is administrative, and there is criminal. I didn't touch upon all of these. I gave you an idea as to what law is, what you will be studying in next 5 years. Why are you studying this law? Is law is something which is useful to you or not? Don't leave this meeting right now, because I have a quiz and I want you all to participate, and let us see as you whether you have understood today's concept or not. So public law is something which is affecting the society and not just two private individuals. Whereas private law is dealing with two individuals, which is contract, or say tort, or say civil law, can be property, can be relating to landlord tenant, can be family. Now family is something which can also fall under criminal when it is say dowry death, dowry demand, then it can fall under criminal also. And regarding trusts, which I didn't touch upon, which I feel you will be studying well during your college days. So let's just start with the quiz. Are you all ready for the quiz? Yes or no? Yes, good. So the first person who will be answering correctly, first 2, 3, or say 5 persons, I'll be naming them. They have answered correctly. Rest of you all also I know would be answering correctly. Probably would not be typing as fast as first 5. So again, the same format, there's a picture, and then you have to tell as to which law this picture is depicting. As to 6 laws which we have studied, domains of law, you have to tell which law is this picture depicting. Okay, we'll start the quiz now. Is this profile pretending to be you? What is the domain? Yes, cyber, online. Okay, the first person who answered this correctly is Khushi, Manjeet, Soumya, Nehal, Anushka, and Kritik. Somebody had written online. I am not considering that because that's not the law which we are talking about. I want the name of the law which we have studied today, which is cyber law, which can be Information Technology Act. Okay, this is identity theft falling under IT Act. This is a cyber crime falling under cyber law. Okay, when Uber is demanding 3 times the fare of your actual fare, which law can you sue Uber under? Consumer law, absolutely correct. Many of you are answering this correct, which is Nehal, Soumya, Shalini, Mayank, Muskan, Ananya. Yes, this is absolutely correct. All of you, in fact, have answered this correctly. This is consumer law. You can sue them for, say, unfair trade practice or deficiency in service. This will fall under Consumer Protection Act. Now tell me, what is this picture depicting and under which law will it fall? This is your answer. This should be your answer. Robbery, theft, absolutely correct. Criminal law, the persons who have answered correctly are Shalini. Okay, I think all of you are answering correctly. Give me some time to scroll back. The persons who have answered correctly are Shivansh, Pallavi, Ashneet, Anushka, and Janvi. Yes, 40 people have answered it. All of you have answered correctly. This is robbery. This is theft. This is criminal law. Absolutely correct. Now tell me, this will fall under Indian Penal Code, falling under criminal law. Now tell me, Aadhaar versus privacy, what law will it fall under? Out of all the laws which we have studied till now, constitutional law, absolutely correct. Now, okay, I am having little problem in scrolling back into the chats, but I am happy to see that many of you are answering correctly. This will fall under constitutional law, right to privacy under Article 21 of your Indian Constitution. Very good, Shashank. He has correctly answered the article as well. It is Article 21, right to privacy under your Indian Constitution. Now, this is a female, a man and a woman, husband and wife. Probably they are. Family law, this is divorce. Very good. Again, I won't be able to name these students because there are so many responses coming in. This is absolutely correct. This is divorce falling under family law. Now, when Kejriwal said he had alleged accused Kapil Sibbal's son Amit Sibal of colluding in tax evasion, what do you think can he be alleged for? Can he be tried for? Let's just see into the answers. This will fall under I am unable to scroll down in the chat box due to heavy responses. But let me go to the answer. This will fall under some people. Defamation. Manjeet has correctly answered it. Defamation. This will fall under. Oh, many people are answering it correctly. This will fall under defamation under your criminal law, which is IPC. Probably under tort as well. Yes, Soumya is also right here. It will fall under tort as well, and one can sue for damages because the image of Kapil Sibal and his son are being tarnished when such allegation is being made by one person. Okay. Okay, now what is happening here? This is nuisance. Absolutely correct. This is nuisance. And why is it nuisance? Because playing of music and plus, torturing the other person. So this will be, you have all seen again in your cartoons, in your childhood days. This is not anything new. As I said, law is not something which is newly seen by you all, which is not a theoretical concept. It will come into your daily lives. You have been seeing it always. You just have to see those instances and relate that, yes, this is falling under this law. This is the offense which is being committed here. This is the wrong which is being committed here. This is the redressal. This is how we'll go to the court, which court to go to, which law to see to. This is what you will be studying in your 5 years. So yes, this is nuisance can fall under law of torts as well as criminal law. So thank you very much. The aim of studying law in law school is not just to mug up and give you examinations and probably be good in academics, but also to understand as to what law really is, what are the recourses, what are the domains of law, and how you relate it in your everyday life. If there are any questions, please, I ask for any such questions from the audience.
I think you've explained everything very well, ma'am. And for someone, I do not belong to the law fraternity. I am a management professor, so for me also it was a good learning experience.
Okay.
There was something that even I did not know.
I am happy, sir. I am happy that you liked. And the entire objective was to make students understand, because law is at times little dry in terms of understanding.
Yeah.
But this is not the approach one should take, especially in first year, because this is something which you'll be seeing in every day of your life, and you have been seeing even in your cartoons. So take law interestingly, understand as to what the concept is, and try to relate it to your real life experiences. It will become more interesting.
True. Usually it's the path that students take is to mug up and just blurt out everything that they mugged up in the exams. Exactly. And that does not really help in real life, because the fundamentals are not clear. When they need to be applied, the knowledge is only bookish and not useful. True. So if you have any doubts, anyone, if you have any questions that you want to ask, ma'am, you can proceed. We'll just give you another 30 seconds for asking questions. Ma'am, there is a question from Kritik Soni, if you can see it.
What are the set skills required that we need to have become a good lawyer? Right now, there are a lot of set skills which are required to become a good lawyer. But for now, since you have just started your law college, I would say understand the concepts. Don't mug up. That's why I came up with this presentation. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yes. That's why I say don't mug up the concepts. Understand them. Apply them in real life. understand your law, and then probably write it in answers. If you want to write it in your own language, feel free to do that, depending on your universities, how they are marking you. But the focus should be to understand and gain knowledge and understand those concepts, and not just have a bookish knowledge. That is how you'll become a good lawyer. Even later, when a client will come to you and say that this all happened, what should I do, you should not go back to the books and say, wait, just let me check which act will apply. You should know what is this offense which has been committed, what was the wrong which was done, and then you can give advice to him accordingly. Ma'am, should we start coaching for preparation of CJ? CJ is your civil judge
civil
preparation,
judge exam.
I believe. In your first year, I would say try and explore all the options. You have 5 years of law course. Don't just pinpoint as to you want to do this specifically because you have never tried it. So I would say intern as much as you can. Try to see all the domains possible. Probably teach in a coaching institute, write papers, intern, moot, do MUNs, do debate, write articles, intern in different firms, corporate law firm, litigation law firm, under a lawyer, under a judge, and then decide as to what you want to do. Probably you'll start preparing, and later you'll feel, oh, this is not my cup of tea. I don't want to become a judge in my life. So explore for now and then decide. And whenever you feel now you're confident you want to do this in life, start preparing.
I think there's a possibility also that 3 years of experience would be compulsory to sit in judiciary exams. There's a possibility if the judgment comes. So that will also change things, because people right now, they end up studying from the perspective of becoming a judge. But when they sit on that chair, they don't know how the practical aspects of law are handled, and the competency of the judges has been put in question. So this used to exist before 2002, 2003, if I'm not wrong, but now they're trying to bring it back, and Andhra Pradesh has already done that. They've mentioned that 3 years of experience in court is necessary.
Yes. Yes.
Shashank, we have another question from Shashank, ma'am.
How to manage our college study along with preparation of competitive exams? I believe if you are preparing for civil services UPSC preparation, then there is an optional paper called, which I believe you will be choosing law because you're studying law. Apart from that, I don't think so law is that tough a subject which will require 8 hours of study every day throughout your 6 months. Even if you study, say, last 2 months before your exams, or if you have continuous internal assessment, if you devote sufficient or I would say minimal amount of time also to your law exams, wherein the focus should be to understand the concept and have hold of the concept, and not just have bookish knowledge or not just have mugged up lines from the book. If you understand the concept, you can reproduce it in your papers. So it depends from person to person. If you are good in reading, if you have a good speed of reading, if you read once and understand it, or if you require multiple reading in order to understand the concept, so that is completely subjective. How do you manage your college studies? I would say keep on reading. There is always time in your hand. Instead of, if you want to do 2 3 things at a time, you will have to do some time management, probably play less, probably devote less time on your computers, or say in binge watching, and study for your competitive exams. But 5 years is a long duration of time. Explore first, be sure whether you want to go ahead with competitive exams, and once you are sure, then of course I know, because you are so willing, you will be able to find out time.
I just want to add something to what ma'am said. Pranav, you've asked that how good is law as an option for UPSC, as if you take law as an optional subject. So as of now, if you are really focused and if you want to clear UPSC, you should focus on the preliminary exam. It contains some portions of constitution in the form of Indian polity, and the selection percentage, only less than 1% people get are able to clear the pre. And once you get to the mains stage, that is when you can prepare for the subject of your choice. It can be law, it can be any other subjects. In the meanwhile, if you think that you would choose law, but that would only happen once you clear the pre. So a very significant majority is not able to clear the pre-examination. The percentage of people who get selected finally after giving the mains is 10%. So if 1,000 people are giving the mains exam, only 10% people are called for the interview. and then out of those people, only half of them are able to crack the interview. So that is how the statistics work. So if you want to give law as an optional paper, that will happen only in mains. So try and focus on pre first. And there are a lot of subjects that you are studying that will be helpful in your preparations. For example, if you are studying BA LLB, so history is a part of the curriculum in for the pre-examination. You read the political science properly, you read constitution properly. These subjects will really give you an edge over others.
That's true.
Yeah. Divyansh, ma'am, what should we? This is the last question because I think there's paucity of time now, and the questions will only degrade year on after. Ma'am, what should be our mindset in the college and how to spend 5 years effectively?
Mindset in college should be grab all the opportunities which are falling in your way. Rather, you'll have to create some opportunities. It can be networking, it can be talking to your professors, making them as your mentors. It can be availing internship opportunities. It can be mooting, debating as much as you can explore. Because if you're a first generation lawyer, you have no one to go to for a job. So that ways you need to explore, and mindset should be I have to be as much productive as I can. And I'm not saying be completely studious or be just focused on your internships. Of course, college life is meant to enjoy your life, roam around, have good friends, have such good friends which will last your say next 20 years, 30 years. You'll have lifelong friends. But the mindset should be, don't just have a relaxed attitude that exams are approaching, I have to study, pass exams, that's it, I'm done. If there is a mandatory internship, I have to I have to get a say dummy certificate and I have to just get done with it. That should not be your focus. Your focus should be, I'm here with a perspective, I have to explore everything. So try and avail every possible opportunity. That's how you'll evolve, grow, and have a better personality after your 5 years. First generation lawyer means somebody who does not have a legal background, somebody whose parents, whose grandparents, who doesn't have a lineage in the family belonging to law background, who is completely new to the law field, who is not having any inheritance as to he can probably take care of the office of his father who's a lawyer, or has parents who are in legal field, be it law firm, be it litigation, be it from judiciary, anything.
Before I ask Webavi to propose a formal vote of thanks, I would also like to thank you, ma'am. This was a very enlightening session for me and for the students, and it is evident with the kind of participation that they had during the session. And in the end, the doors of the institution are always open for you. We would love to see you in person once we are done with the pandemic. So anytime you visit Indore, the door is always open, and we would love for you to visit our institute, and we look forward to such sessions in the future also.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure teaching you all. I found students to be extremely intelligent, and even the concepts which are not taught to them, they knew about it. And majority of them were answering correctly. And in the quiz, I saw heavy participation because of which I couldn't scroll down in the chat box. The computer became slow. So I was very happy with the participation and the quality of students you have in your institution. And I'll be grateful if I get a chance to come again in your institution and probably speak again on some topic.
Thank you so much. Webavi, please proceed with the formal vote of thanks.
Before we close this EML, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the faculties, administration, and students of Prestige Institute, Department of Law, to thank Advocate Mansi for giving us her precious time and enlightening us with numerous concepts. Once again, thank you for constructing young minds from your informative session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Thank you for taking out the time, ma'am. I'll be ending the session now. Thank you to all the students for being so participative. I really enjoyed the session because you were participative. Ma'am was able to deliver a even better session than what she could have delivered. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Webavi, for hosting it so well. And I'll be ending the meeting now.
Thank you.